Chosen one, why are you still awake at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering if God has forgotten your address? Why does Thursday feel different in your chest, like something's brewing in the invisible realm, but you can't name it? Why have you survived everything hell threw at you, only to feel more alone now than ever? Stop. Right there. What I'm about to tell you isn't another sermon. This is a divine interruption. If you're hearing my voice right now, if this video found you today, December 3rd, it's because heaven just marked your Thursday. Not next week. Not someday. Thursday. And I need you to understand something that's going to shake you. There are 7 things you absolutely must not do tomorrow, or you will sabotage the very breakthrough God has been positioning for 70, 80, maybe 90 years. Thursday is not a normal day. It has been written in the scrolls of eternity before you took your first breath. I know what you're carrying right now. That loneliness that follows you even in crowded rooms, that bank account that mocks your decades of faithfulness, those children who stopped calling, that body that betrays you with every step, that exhaustion in your spirit that whispers, maybe my time has passed. But what if I told you that every closed door, every sleepless night, every tear you've cried in secret was preparing you for Thursday's divine alignment? Before we go deeper, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just giving, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and plant that seed of faith. But hear me clearly. There is one mistake people make on the eve of breakthrough. One invisible sabotage that will cancel Thursday's promise before sunrise. Most don't even know they're doing it. I'll reveal that mistake in part 4, but only if you're still with me. Right now, if your spirit already feels this tug, if something ancient in your bones just woke up, type, "I'm listening, Lord," in the comments. Let heaven see your obedience. Because what's coming Thursday will separate those who merely heard from those who responded. Thursday carries a window, a holy opening, a kairos moment when your prayers that have been stored in golden bowls are about to be poured out, but only if you avoid these 7 traps. Are you ready to discover what heaven just marked on your calendar? Have you felt it? That strange heaviness pressing on your chest since Monday? That sudden memory of someone you haven't thought about in 30 years? That phone call that came out of nowhere? That dream you can't shake? That knowing in your bones that something is shifting? You're not imagining it, chosen one. Thursday is not just another square on your calendar. Let me tell you what's really happening in the invisible realm right now. While you've been going about your daily routine, taking your medications, checking your mailbox, watching the same news cycle, there has been a war raging over Thursday. Angels have been positioning. Demons have been scheming. And you, dear soul, you've been standing at the center of a spiritual convergence that most people will completely miss. Thursday carries weight because heaven is closer. You've lived long enough to know this truth. Some days just feel different, don't they? Some mornings you wake up and the air itself seems to hum with possibility. Other days you can barely lift your head from the pillow. This isn't just age, beloved. This isn't just your body wearing down. You're sensing what the young and distracted cannot. You're feeling the atmospheric pressure of the spiritual realm pressing into the natural world. Think about Daniel, chapter 10, verse 13. This prophet was praying, fasting, seeking God with everything in him, but his answer was delayed for 21 days. Why? Because there was warfare in the heavens. The angel sent to him was literally fighting invisible forces to get the message through. Daniel didn't see the battle, but he felt it, that unexplained heaviness, that sense that something was blocking his breakthrough. You've been feeling that same blockage, haven't you? Like your prayers are hitting a concrete ceiling, like heaven has gone silent, like God moved on to help someone younger, someone more relevant, someone whose best days aren't already in the rearview mirror. But what if that heaviness isn't abandonment? What if it's anticipation? Look at Job. This man sat in ashes for months, scraping his sores with broken pottery, listening to his own wife tell him to curse God and die. His friends accused him, his body betrayed him, his wealth vanished, and for the longest, darkest stretch of his life, God said nothing, absolute silence. But Job chapter 42 reveals the truth. God was preparing something so massive, so overwhelming, so abundantly restorative that Job's latter days made his former days look like dress rehearsal. The silence before Thursday isn't emptiness, dear one, it's preparation. You see, heaven operates on Kairos time, not Chronos, not the ticking of clocks or the turning of calendar pages, but the fullness of divine timing. When God marked Thursday on the eternal scrolls, He knew exactly where you'd be. He knew you'd be tired. He knew you'd be questioning. He knew you'd be wondering if you had anything left to give this world. And He chose Thursday anyway. This week, have you noticed the strange interruptions? That sudden argument with your daughter that came out of nowhere, that bill you weren't expecting, that pain in your body that flared up for no medical reason? These aren't random coincidences. The enemy knows what Thursday holds, and he's been working overtime to distract you, discourage you, and disqualify you before the door even opens. Elijah knew this pattern. 1 Kings chapter 19. This mighty prophet had just called down fire from heaven, defeated 450 false prophets, and watched God move in supernatural power. But the very next day, he was running for his life, sitting under a tree, begging God to let him die. One day victorious, the next day suicidal. Why? Because breakthrough attracts backlash. Your exhaustion this week isn't proof that you're finished. It's proof that you're close. Thursday is a divine doorway, quiet, small, easily missed, but holding the weight of a lifetime. It doesn't announce itself with trumpets and fanfare. It whispers, and only those who have learned to listen in the stillness will hear it creak open. Right now, some of you are feeling something in your spirit that you can't explain to anyone. You tried to tell your kids, but they looked at you like you were losing your mind. You mentioned it to a friend, but they changed the subject. So you've been carrying this knowing in silence, wondering if you're just a lonely old person grasping at meaning. But what if that knowing is prophetic recognition? What if your spirit is picking up frequencies that others are too distracted to hear? If you've felt anything strange this week, unexplained emotions, sudden clarity, divine disruptions, type "I felt it" in the comments right now. Let others know they're not crazy. Let heaven see that you're paying attention, because Thursday won't wait for you to feel ready. Thursday won't pause until you have all the answers. Thursday is coming whether you recognize it or not. But here's the truth that will change everything. Recognition is optional, but participation is required. The question burning in the heavenlies right now is this: will you walk through Thursday's doorway, or will you let fear, doubt, and old religious lies convince you to stay on the outside looking in? Listen to me carefully, chosen one. What I'm about to tell you might save you from the biggest mistake of your life, because Thursday isn't just another day you cross off the calendar. Thursday is loaded. It's been circled in heaven's ledger with your name written in blood-red ink, and the enemy knows it. That's why he's going to use the 3 weapons that have worked on you for decades, the 3 traps that have stolen more blessings from God's people than any demon ever could. And if you're not careful, if you walk into Thursday blind, you'll cancel what took 70 years to prepare. The first thing you must not do: let your mouth run before your spirit listens. How many times have you opened your mouth and wished you could swallow those words back down? How many Thanksgiving dinners ended in silence because of one sentence you fired off? How many relationships are you still trying to repair from words you spoke 20 years ago? Dear one, your tongue carries more power than you realize. Proverbs 18:21 doesn't stutter. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Not might be, not could be. Are. Your words tomorrow will either open heaven's gates or slam them shut in your face. Think about this. You wake up Thursday morning. Your knees hurt. Your bills are due. Your daughter hasn't called in 3 weeks. And someone, your spouse, your neighbor, maybe even a stranger at the grocery store, says something that triggers you. Something small, something petty. But it hits that nerve that's been raw for 40 years. And before your spirit can catch up, your mouth is already moving. Sharp words. Bitter words. Words soaked in decades of disappointment. You think you're just venting. You think you're just being honest. But what you don't see is the angel standing next to you, holding the blessing heaven was about to release, watching your words poison the very atmosphere that was about to shift in your favor. A single spark can burn down a lifetime of peace. James 3-5 warns us. The tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. You've lived long enough to know this is true. You've seen marriages destroyed by one sentence. You've watched inheritances lost over a single argument. You've felt the cold distance between you and your children because of words you can't take back. Thursday, you must guard your mouth like it's the door to your destiny, because it is. The second thing you must not do: revisit old wounds on Thursday. Now here's where it gets personal. Here's where I need you to be brutally honest with yourself. How many times this week have you replayed that conversation from 1987? How many nights have you laid in bed rehearsing what you should have said to your ex-husband? How many mornings have you woken up with guilt crushing your chest over the child you lost, the business that failed, the affair you had, the parent you didn't forgive before they died? The enemy loves to resurrect what God has already buried. Listen to me. Every time you dig up a wound God healed, you're not being reflective, you're being robbed. You're giving the devil permission to paralyze you with guilt on the very day heaven planned your release. Isaiah 43-18 thunders across your situation. Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. That's not a suggestion, that's a command from the Almighty Himself. Why? Because your past is a grave, and God is calling you to resurrection. But you can't walk into Thursday's breakthrough while dragging Thursday's corpses behind you. I know it hurts. I know that wound from your father still bleeds when you're alone. I know the shame from what happened in your 30s still makes you flinch. I know you wake up some mornings wondering if God can really use someone who's made the mistakes you've made. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. That wound you keep touching, God wants to turn it into your greatest weapon. That failure you keep mourning, heaven is preparing to turn it into someone else's miracle. But not if you spend Thursday wallowing in what was, instead of stepping into what is. The third thing you must not do: say, nothing ever changes. This one's going to sting, but you need to hear it. How many times in the last month have you said it? Maybe not out loud, but in your spirit. Nothing ever changes. I've been praying for 30 years and nothing's different. My situation is the same. My family is the same. My bank account is the same. My health is the same. Those words, even whispered in your mind, are not harmless. They're not just honest observations. They're declarations. They're prophecies. And they cancel heavenly timing. Numbers 13 tells us about 12 spies who went into the promised land. 10 came back and said, "We can't do it. The giants are too big. Nothing's going to change." 2 said, "God is with us. We can take the land." Same situation, same giants, different words. And guess what? An entire generation died in the wilderness because they spoke hopelessness instead of faith. Hopeless words cancel heavenly timing. You've been waiting so long that waiting became your identity. You've been disappointed so many times that you've learned to protect yourself by expecting nothing. But what if Thursday is the day everything shifts? What if the breakthrough you've been praying for since 1995 is scheduled to arrive tomorrow? And what if your words of hopelessness tonight become the very thing that delays it another decade? Heaven is listening to your words tomorrow. Every syllable, every sigh, every complaint, every declaration. And you need to decide right now, will you let exhaustion speak through you, or will you let faith roar? Because Thursday isn't just coming, Thursday is here. And the question that will determine everything is this: what will your mouth release when heaven opens its hand? Listen to me very carefully, chosen one. What I'm about to reveal is the invisible assassin that has killed more miracles than doubt, more blessings than sin, more breakthroughs than the devil himself. It's not what you think. You've been praying for Thursday's breakthrough. You've been fasting. You've been believing. But there's something you're doing right now in this very moment that's slamming the window shut on the very answer God is trying to deliver. Overthinking the blessing before it arrives. Dear soul, let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. How many nights have you lain awake, not in prayer, but in calculation? How many hours have you spent trying to figure out how God will do it, when He'll do it, if He'll really do it? You're not resting in faith. You're wrestling with fear, disguised as planning. You think you're being wise. You think you're being prepared. But what you're actually doing is telling the Almighty that His track record in your life isn't good enough. That the same God who kept breath in your lungs through 70 years of hell somehow can't be trusted with Thursday. Here's the shocking truth. Your blessing is a bird perched right outside your window. It's been there for weeks, maybe months. God sent it. Heaven positioned it. Angels escorted it to your address. But every time it tries to land, your anxiety slams the window shut. Your doubt locks the latch. Your overthinking pulls the curtains closed. And that bird, it just sits there, waiting, watching, wondering when you'll finally stop sabotaging your own answered prayer. Jesus said it plainly in Matthew 6:27. Which of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? But let me translate that for your situation. Which of you by overthinking can speed up God's timing by even 1 minute? Which of you by calculating every possible outcome can force heaven's hand to move faster? You can't. And you're exhausting yourself trying. I need you to see something that might shock you. Remember Martha and Mary? When Lazarus died, Martha ran to Jesus with a list. Lord, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. But even now, I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. She was thinking, planning, calculating, working the angles, even in her grief. But Mary? Mary just fell at his feet and wept. She wasn't thinking, she was surrendering. And it was to Mary that Jesus revealed his deepest emotion. Jesus wept. John 11:35. 2 words that changed everything. Why am I telling you this? Because God is not moved by your ability to figure everything out. He's moved by your willingness to fall at His feet and trust Him, even when nothing makes sense. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Your overthinking isn't wisdom, it's a trauma response. You've been disappointed so many times that your mind has built a fortress to protect your heart. Every time hope tried to rise, life knocked it down. So now, even when God is positioning your breakthrough, your brain won't let you believe it. Your heart won't let you receive it. You're expecting disappointment because disappointment has been your longest relationship. Look at the Israelites at the Red Sea. Exodus 14:10 says, As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified and cried out to the Lord. But what did Moses say? Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. Stand firm. Stop running mental marathons. Stop playing chess with God's promises. Stop trying to see 6 moves ahead when heaven is asking you to trust the next step. Your blessing doesn't need your help. It needs your surrender. And here's what breaks my heart. Some of you right now are so close. Thursday's breakthrough is already en route. The answer left heaven's throne room days ago. But you're about to cancel it with your fear. You're about to delay it with your doubt. You're about to sabotage it with your overthinking. God is not late. He's waiting for your spirit to get quiet enough to receive. Psalm 46:10 commands, Be still and know that I am God. Not be busy figuring it out. Not be anxious calculating every scenario. Be still. That Hebrew word for still is rapha. It means to let go, to release, to stop striving. When was the last time you truly let go? When was the last time you laid it down and left it there? When was the last time you stopped trying to help God and just let Him be God? Because I'm telling you right now, Thursday's breakthrough requires Thursday's trust. What's coming tomorrow won't fit in your hands if your fists are still clenched around your fear. If this part is hitting home, if you feel that conviction burning in your chest right now, type "I release control" in the comments. That's not just a comment, that's a covenant. That's you telling heaven you're done sabotaging your own miracle. But there's something else you need to know. Releasing control is only the first step, because there are 6 more traps waiting for you tomorrow, 6 more invisible assassins that most chosen ones walk right into without knowing. And the second one? It's the reason why blessings arrive but don't stay. Are you ready to discover what most people do the moment their breakthrough shows up that causes it to vanish before morning? Now listen to me carefully, chosen one, because what I'm about to reveal will either protect your breakthrough or destroy it before sunrise. These final 4 mistakes have sabotaged more answered prayers than any demon in hell. And tomorrow, Thursday, you cannot afford to make even one of them. Mistake number 4. Do not reconnect with someone God removed. I need to ask you something that might cut deep. Has someone from your past been calling lately? An old friend who suddenly remembers your number after 5 years of silence? A relative who only shows up when they need something? Maybe it's that voice in your head saying, "You should reach out. You should fix it. You should try one more time." Stop right there. Not every familiar face carries familiar peace. Just because you recognize someone doesn't mean God has released you to reconnect with them. The Lord removed certain people from your path for a reason, and that reason is still valid today. Think about Lot's wife in Genesis 19. One look back, that's all it took. One moment of nostalgia, 1 second of longing for what used to be, and she became a pillar of salt. She didn't run back to Sodom. She didn't rebuild her old life. She just looked. And it cost her everything. Here's what breaks my heart about our elderly saints. You've lived long enough to see patterns. You know that cousin who only calls when they're broke. You recognize that friend who drains your spirit every time you talk. You've learned that some relationships are toxic, some doors should stay closed, some chapters need to stay finished. But loneliness is a liar. And when you're sitting in that quiet house on a Wednesday night, when the phone hasn't rung in days, when your own children seem too busy to visit, suddenly that familiar voice doesn't seem so bad anymore. Suddenly you're thinking, maybe I overreacted, maybe they've changed, maybe I should give them another chance. Beloved, God didn't remove them to punish you. He removed them to protect Thursday's blessing, because what He's about to release into your life is so precious, so powerful, so anointed that He cannot allow old toxicity to contaminate new territory. Proverbs 26:11 says it plainly. As a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. Thursday is not the day to revisit what God already delivered you from. Mistake number 5. Do not spend Thursday in isolation. But here's the tension, and you need to hear this. While you cannot reconnect with toxic people, you also cannot isolate yourself completely. The enemy attacks hardest when you're alone with your thoughts. How many of you know exactly what I'm talking about? Those hours between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. when your mind becomes a torture chamber, when every regret you've ever had parades through your bedroom, when loneliness wraps around your chest like a vice and whispers, "Nobody cares. Nobody remembers. Nobody's coming." Ecclesiastes 4:12 warns us, though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. You were never designed to fight Thursday's spiritual warfare alone. I'm talking to the grandmother whose grandchildren are too busy scrolling on their phones to call. I'm talking to the widower who eats dinner in silence every night because his bride of 52 years is gone. I'm talking to every senior saint who feels invisible in a world that worships youth and forgets wisdom. Thursday requires community. even if it's just one phone call to another believer, even if it's just sitting in a park where people gather, even if it's just showing up to that church service you've been avoiding because it hurts too much to sit in your pew alone. The enemy knows that isolated sheep get devoured. Don't give him that advantage tomorrow. Mistake number 6. Do not ignore the small nudge from the Holy Spirit. Here's what most people miss about divine guidance. God doesn't always speak in thunder. Most of the time, he whispers, and Thursday will be filled with whispers that you cannot afford to dismiss. 1 Kings 19:12 describes it perfectly. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire came a gentle whisper. That gentle whisper is where God does his most important work. What if Thursday morning you feel a sudden urge to call someone you haven't thought about in months? What if you're walking past a store and something tells you to go inside? What if you're about to say something and a quiet voice says, "Not now. Wait." Don't ignore it. Don't rationalize it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Heaven whispers before it speaks. That nudge to pray at 10:47 a.m. instead of noon, that's not random. That impulse to write a letter to your estranged daughter, that's not nostalgia. That uncomfortable feeling about a decision you were about to make, that's not anxiety. That's the Holy Spirit positioning you for Thursday's divine appointment. You've lived long enough to know the difference between your thoughts and God's voice. You've walked with him through enough decades to recognize his frequency. Trust that discernment tomorrow more than you've ever trusted it before. Mistake number 7. Do not end Thursday without prayer. And now we come to the final, most critical command. You absolutely cannot let Thursday end without sealing it in prayer. Luke 18:1 tells us plainly, men ought always to pray and not to faint. Not sometimes, not when it's convenient, always. And especially on Thursday. Here's what I need you to understand. The door God opens tomorrow must be sealed tonight in prayer. Every breakthrough requires a covering. Every miracle needs protection. Every answered prayer demands thanksgiving before it even manifests. You will go to bed Wednesday night tonight, and you will pray over Thursday before it begins. You will ask God to close every door the enemy tries to open. You will bind every spirit of confusion, delay, and sabotage. You will thank him in advance for what he's about to do. And when Thursday ends, before you close your eyes, you will pray again. You will declare that every seed planted that day is covered by the blood of Jesus. You will seal every conversation, every decision, every moment in his name. Because chosen one, tomorrow carries the signature of God. You cannot sleepwalk through it. This is not just another day in December. This is your Kairos moment, your divine intersection, your appointed time. But the question that will determine everything is this: will you avoid these 7 traps, or will you sabotage your own breakthrough? Listen to me carefully, chosen one. Something is shifting in the heavens right now that you can feel but can't name. It's that restlessness in your chest at 3 a.m., that strange knowing that won't let you settle, that sense that the air itself is holding its breath. Thursday isn't just another square on your calendar. It's a divine marker, a prophetic threshold. And if you've lived long enough, if you've got 70, 80, 90 years of walking with God under your belt, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know that before God moves, there's always a silence, a sacred pause, like the stillness just before dawn breaks over the East River when the whole city holds its breath before the light comes. Heaven is opening scrolls with your name written on them. You think I'm being dramatic? Listen to what the prophet Daniel saw in chapter 7 verse 10. The court was seated and the books were opened. Books, plural. Not one dusty ledger, but countless records of every prayer you've whispered, every tear you've cried when nobody was watching, every moment you chose faith when logic screamed, run. And right now, this very moment, as you're hearing my voice, those books are being opened. Angels are repositioning. Not because God is unprepared, but because your appointed time has arrived, your kairos moment. Not chronos time, the ticking of clocks and turning of calendar pages, but kairos, the fullness of time. The moment when eternity crashes into your Wednesday night and declares that Thursday will never be the same. But here's what's shaking me to my core. Here's what I need you to understand with every fiber of your being. The enemy knows what's coming Thursday. He's seen the scrolls. He's watched the angels move into position. And he is terrified of what happens when you step through this window. Why do you think the attacks have been so vicious lately? Why do you think doubt has been screaming louder than it has in years? Why do you think your body aches more? Your mind races faster. Your peace feels paper thin. Because hell recognizes divine windows, and it will do everything in its power to keep you sleeping through your own breakthrough. Think about it. How many times in Scripture did God move at the breaking of day? He delivered Israel from Egypt at dawn. The women found the empty tomb at sunrise. The Red Sea parted in the morning watch. God specializes in Thursday moments, those sacred transitions between what was and what's about to be. You've been waiting so long, haven't you? Decades of praying the same prayers, years of believing for the same breakthroughs. Seasons where you wondered if God had moved on to younger, stronger, more relevant vessels. But what if, and hear me clearly, what if every delay was actually divine positioning? What if God wasn't ignoring your cries, but orchestrating the exact moment when your breakthrough would have maximum impact? Ecclesiastes 3:1 declares, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." Not some purposes, every purpose. And your purpose, chosen one, has a Thursday written all over it. If you've lived long enough, you know. You know that God always sends a sign before a shift, a tremor before the earthquake, a whisper before the thunder. You've learned to read the atmosphere, to sense when the invisible realm is pressing into the visible. That's not superstition, that's spiritual maturity earned through decades of walking with the Almighty. But here's the urgency that should grip your soul right now. Windows don't stay open forever. Divine alignments have expiration dates. The children of Israel had one night to apply the blood to their doorposts. Noah had 7 days to board the ark. Lot had hours to flee Sodom. Thursday's window will open, but it will also close. This is why the 7 things I'm about to reveal are not suggestions. They're not helpful hints for better living. They are divine instructions that will determine whether you walk through this prophetic window or watch it close while you're still standing on the wrong side. You see, most people miss their moment not because God didn't show up, but because they sabotage themselves with old patterns. With fear disguised as wisdom, with doubt dressed up as humility, with procrastination wrapped in the language of waiting on God. But you're different. You didn't survive 70, 80, 90 years of battles to miss your Thursday. You didn't endure decades of wilderness to die within sight of your promised land. You didn't carry this hope through hell itself to let it slip through your fingers now. Heaven is watching you at this exact moment. The cloud of witnesses is leaning in. Your ancestors who prayed for breakthrough they never saw, they're waiting to see if you'll be the one who finally steps through. Thursday is their answered prayer wrapped in your obedience. So let me ask you something that will echo in your spirit long after this video ends. Are you ready? Not ready like you've been for years, hoping, wishing, waiting, but ready like a warrior who knows the battle cry is about to sound. Ready like someone who understands that Thursday will separate the observers from the possessors. If you're ready for what heaven is releasing Thursday, if you feel that ancient stirring in your bones, type, "I am ready," in the comments right now. Let the angels see your boldness. Let hell know you're not backing down. Because what I'm about to show you next will determine everything. The 7 things you must not do tomorrow aren't random warnings. They're strategic warfare. And the first one will shock you because you've been doing it your whole life. You know what breaks my heart? It's watching God's chosen ones, 70, 80, 90 years young, sitting in quiet rooms, staring at walls, wondering if their story is over. wondering if they've become invisible, wondering if the best chapters have already been written and all that's left now is waiting. But what if I told you something that's going to shatter that lie into a million pieces? You are not at the end of your story, you're at the end of a chapter. And tomorrow Thursday, turns the page. Listen to me carefully, beloved. Every single storm you've survived, every betrayal that should have destroyed you, every financial crisis that should have buried you, every health scare that should have taken you out, you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still believing. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's divine preservation for divine appointment. God didn't keep you alive this long just so you could fade quietly into the background. Think about Caleb for a moment. This man was 85 years old when he stood before Joshua and said something that should shake every senior citizen in America to their core. He said, "Give me this mountain, not give me a rocking chair, not give me peace and quiet. Give me this mountain. The giants are up there, and I want them." Joshua 14:11 records his words, "I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out. I'm just as vigorous to go out to battle now as I was then." 85 years old, and he's talking about going to war. Why? Because he understood something you need to understand right now. Your age is not your limitation. Your age is your weapon. Every year you've lived has been training. Every battle you've fought has been boot camp. Every tear you've cried has been liquid steel forging your spirit. You think you're too old? Moses was 80 when he split the Red Sea. You think your time has passed? Sarah was 90 when she birthed nations. You think God's done using people like you? Anna the prophetess was 84 when she recognized the Messiah and proclaimed him to all Jerusalem. The pattern is clear, chosen one. God saves his most powerful moves for those the world has written off. But here's what's happening right now, in your spirit, and I need you to feel this. Something is shifting. Can you sense it? That restlessness in your chest isn't anxiety. That stirring in your bones isn't just age. That feeling that something's about to break open, that's prophetic recognition. Your spirit knows what your mind hasn't caught up to yet. Thursday is a Kairos moment, not Chronos, not just another day on the calendar. Kairos, the appointed time, the fullness of time, the moment when heaven's purposes intersect with earthly circumstances and miracles become inevitable. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven." Your season of waiting is ending. Your season of walking through is beginning. I'm talking to the grandmother who's prayed for 30 years for her prodigal grandson. Thursday is your day. I'm talking to the grandfather who's carried the weight of family shame for decades. Thursday is your breakthrough. I'm talking to every senior saint who's wondered if God still remembers their name. Thursday, he's calling it out loud. But you have to understand what's at stake here. This isn't just about feeling better. This isn't just about having a nice day. Thursday represents a doorway, a threshold moment, and doorways don't stay open forever. God didn't bring you this far to leave you standing in the hallway. The door opens tomorrow. Be ready to walk through it. You've spent decades being faithful in the shadows, decades of praying prayers nobody heard, decades of serving in ways nobody noticed, decades of staying faithful when faithfulness looked foolish. But Hebrews 11:6 promises he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him, not might reward, not could reward, is a rewarder, present tense, active, happening now. Your reward isn't in heaven only. Your reward is Thursday. Every gray hair on your head is a crown of wisdom. Every wrinkle on your face is a map of God's faithfulness. Every scar you carry is evidence that you survived what was designed to kill you. You are not fading, beloved. You are finally coming into focus. The world sees your age and expects decline. Heaven sees your experience and anticipates explosion. The world measures your worth by productivity. God measures your power by proximity to eternity. And that proximity? It's your greatest advantage. You're standing closer to heaven than you've ever been, which means you can hear his voice clearer, see his purposes sharper, and move with his authority stronger than any other season of your life. So let me ask you something that will determine everything about tomorrow. Are you going to walk through that door, or are you going to let fear, doubt, and the lies about your age keep you in the hallway? Because Thursday is coming whether you're ready or not. The question is, will you be positioned to receive what God positioned for you before time began? But there's one final thing you need to know, one last truth that will seal everything we've walked through together. And it has to do with what happens after Thursday. When heaven doesn't just open a door but hands you the keys to rooms you never knew existed. Listen to me very carefully, chosen one. If tonight feels heavier than usual, if your chest feels like it's carrying stones, if your mind won't stop replaying every failure from 1987, if your body aches in places that weren't hurting yesterday, that's not your imagination. That's not old age creeping up on you. That's interference. Spiritual interference. You see, the devil isn't stupid. He's been watching you for 70, 80, 90 years. He knows your patterns. He knows your weaknesses. And he knows something you're just beginning to remember. Thursday is your appointed day. So tonight, right now, this very moment, he's launching his final assault to make sure you never see what God has prepared. Right before the door opens, the hallway always gets darker. Think about it. Why did your daughter call you today after 3 months of silence, but only to dump her problems on you? Why did that medical bill show up in today's mail? Why did you suddenly remember that thing you said in 1973 that you thought you'd forgiven yourself for? Why does your arthritis feel worse tonight than it did this morning? Coincidence? No, beloved. Strategy. The enemy knows something about spiritual mathematics that most believers never learn. The closer you get to breakthrough, the more vicious the attack becomes. It's not random. It's calculated. It's targeted. And it's proof, absolute proof, that you're carrying something he's terrified of. Let me show you something in Scripture that will blow your mind. In Daniel chapter 10, the prophet prayed for 21 days. 21 days of fasting, seeking God's face, pouring out his heart. But nothing happened. Silence, emptiness, until finally an angel appeared and said something shocking. From the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. But the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Did you catch that? Daniel's prayer was heard on day 1. The answer was dispatched on day 1. But for 3 weeks there was warfare in the invisible realm, blocking the delivery. Your breakthrough was released years ago, dear one. But hell has been running interference, and tonight, the night before Thursday, is when that warfare gets most intense. Because the enemy can see what you can't see yet. He sees Thursday's door creaking open. He sees the blessing with your name on it. He sees the financial miracle, the family restoration, the health turnaround, the divine vindication that's about to crash into your reality. And he's throwing everything he's got at you to make you quit 12 hours before dawn. This is why tonight you're suddenly flooded with discouraging memories. Why your mind keeps dragging you back to that divorce in 1982, that business that failed in 1995, that child who broke your heart in 2003. The enemy is trying to convince you that your past defines your Thursday, that because you failed before, you'll fail again, that you're too old, too tired, too broken to receive what God is releasing. But here's the truth that will set you free. The attack is proof of the assignment. Hell doesn't waste ammunition on empty vessels. Satan doesn't mobilize his demons against people who pose no threat. The very fact that you're under assault tonight means you're carrying something dangerous, something powerful, something that will destroy his kingdom if you make it to Thursday morning still standing. Look at Job. The Bible says in Job 1-8 that God himself bragged about Job to Satan. Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. And what happened next? Everything was stripped away. His wealth, his children, his health, his wife's support. But why? Because Job carried something so pure, so unshakable, that heaven wanted to prove it and hell wanted to break it. You're Job in this hour, and tonight's warfare is actually tomorrow's testimony. But you need to recognize the tactics. The enemy isn't coming at you with obvious temptation anymore. At your age, he knows that won't work. So he uses something more subtle, more insidious. He weaponizes your weariness. He turns your body against your spirit. He makes you feel the weight of every year you've lived. That sudden physical heaviness that hit you around 7 p.m. That's not just fatigue. That phone call from your son that left you emotionally drained. That wasn't random timing. Those fears about money that woke you up at 3 a.m. That's spiritual warfare disguised as practical concern. Right before the door opens, the hallway always gets darker. Jesus understood this. In the Garden of Gethsemane, the night before his greatest victory, he experienced the most intense warfare of his entire ministry. Matthew 26-38 records his words, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death." The night before the resurrection came the darkest hour of his existence. If the Son of God faced warfare before breakthrough, why would you be exempt? But here's what separates those who see Thursday's promise from those who forfeit it. You have to recognize that the intensity of tonight's battle is directly proportional to the magnitude of tomorrow's blessing. Hell doesn't send nightmares before ordinary days. Depression doesn't spike before normal Thursdays. Your body doesn't rebel before meaningless mornings. The warfare is proof. The attack is confirmation. The heaviness is evidence that something massive is about to shift. So, when discouragement whispers, "Nothing's going to change," you tell it, "That's exactly what you said before my last breakthrough." When fear screams about your bank account, you remind it, "My God owns every bank in America." When your body aches and begs you to give up, you declare, "My strength comes from the Lord, not from my joints." If you feel the warfare tonight, if every word I'm speaking is describing your last 6 hours, type, "I stand firm" in the comments right now. Let heaven see your declaration. Let hell hear your refusal to surrender. Because, chosen one, you've survived worse nights than this. You've endured darker hours. You've walked through valleys that should have buried you. And if God brought you through all of that, He didn't do it so you could quit 11 hours before Thursday's sunrise. But there's something you need to understand about Thursday that will change everything. Something about divine timing that most believers miss completely. And if you don't grasp this next truth, you'll step into Thursday armed with yesterday's faith instead of tomorrow's authority. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. I need you to stop what you're doing right now and pay attention, because what I'm about to reveal will change how you see the last 48 hours of your life. You've been feeling something, haven't you? Something you couldn't name. Something shifting in the atmosphere around you that your mind tried to dismiss but your spirit kept noticing. You thought you were imagining it. You thought maybe you were just tired, just lonely, just getting old and sentimental. But what if I told you that what you've been feeling wasn't imagination at all? What if those strange sensations, those unexplainable moments, those quiet disruptions in your routine were actually God's way of confirming that Thursday's blessing is already in motion? There are 3 prophetic signs, 3 divine markers that heaven sends when breakthrough is no longer coming but has already been activated. And if you've experienced even one of these in the last 72 hours, I need you to understand something that will shake you to your core. The blessing isn't on its way. It's already here. It's already moving. It's already positioning itself in your life. The first sign is this: a sudden, unexplainable calm in your spirit. You know what I'm talking about. After months, maybe years, of that constant anxiety sitting on your chest like a stone, that worry about money, about health, about whether anyone would remember you when you're gone, suddenly, without warning, without reason, something lifted. The storm in your mind went quiet. Not because your circumstances changed, but because something in the spiritual realm shifted. Maybe it happened while you were washing dishes. Maybe it came over you in the middle of the night. Maybe you were sitting in your living room staring at nothing, and for the first time in years, you felt peace. Real peace. The kind that doesn't make sense when your bank account is still empty and your phone still isn't ringing. Isaiah 26:3 says, "Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee." But here's what most people miss, that peace doesn't come randomly. It comes as a sign. It's God's way of saying, I'm about to move, and I'm preparing your spirit to receive what's coming. That calm you felt? That wasn't relief, that was confirmation. Heaven was steadying you for impact. The second sign is a moment of unexpected clarity, a memory, a name, a nudge that seemed to come from nowhere. Has this happened to you recently? You were going about your day, and suddenly someone's face appeared in your mind, someone you haven't thought about in 20 years, or a street name popped into your head, or you remembered a conversation from 1987 that seemed completely irrelevant. But for some reason, you couldn't shake it. Maybe you were praying, and a specific scripture you haven't read in decades suddenly burned in your chest. Maybe you were half asleep, and you heard a word, just one word, that made your eyes snap open. Maybe you felt an overwhelming urge to call someone, to go somewhere, to do something that logic said didn't matter. Listen to me. That wasn't your mind playing tricks. That was divine download. Proverbs 16:9 tells us, "A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps." When God is about to release breakthrough, He starts directing before you even realize you're walking. Those random thoughts, those sudden memories, those unexplainable nudges, they're heaven's GPS system activating, guiding you toward Thursday's appointed moment. You thought you were losing your mind. God was actually giving you His. And here's the third sign, the one most people miss entirely, a divine interruption, a delay, a lost item, a small inconvenience that felt frustrating in the moment but was actually protecting you. Did your car not start yesterday? Did you misplace your keys and waste 20 minutes looking for them? Did someone cancel plans at the last second? Did you miss a phone call, forget an appointment, take a wrong turn that made you late? Most people curse these moments. They call them bad luck, call them signs of aging, call them proof that nothing goes right anymore. But what if I told you those interruptions were divine interventions? What if God was literally rerouting your steps to keep you from walking into something that would have derailed Thursday's blessing? Think about it. What if that delay kept you from being in the wrong place at the wrong time? What if that lost item prevented you from making a decision you would have regretted? What if that cancellation cleared your schedule for something heaven already scheduled? Proverbs 19:21 declares, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." When breakthrough is near, God will shut doors, change routes, and yes, even hide your car keys to make sure you don't accidentally sabotage what He's been setting up. These three signs, the calm, the clarity, the interruption, they're not random, they're sequential. They're like streetlights turning green one by one, guiding you toward destiny. Each one confirming that Thursday isn't just another day you're hoping will be different. Thursday is the day heaven has already marked. If you've seen even one of these signs in the last 3 days, the blessing is already moving toward you. Not might be, not could be, is. But here's what breaks my heart, and here's what we need to address right now. Most people see the signs and still miss the blessing. They recognize the calm, but don't prepare for impact. They feel the nudge, but don't follow through. They experience the interruption, but don't trust the protection. Why? Because they don't know what not to do when breakthrough is this close. And that's where most people lose everything, not in the waiting, but in the final hours before arrival. So let me ask you this. Now that you know Thursday's blessing is already activated, now that you've recognized the signs, are you ready to learn the 7 things you absolutely must not do tomorrow? Or will you be one more person who saw the streetlights and still crashed at the intersection? Listen to me, chosen one. Thursday isn't just a day you survive and move past. Thursday is a doorway. And what lies on the other side of that door will redefine every assumption you've made about your final chapters. You've been living like you're in the epilogue of your story, like the best pages have already been written, like God used you up in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and now you're just here, taking up space, counting pills, watching the clock, waiting for heaven, because earth has nothing left to offer. That's the lie that's kept you imprisoned for decades. But what if I told you that everything, every betrayal, every loss, every year you thought was wasted was actually the preface? What if your real assignment hasn't even started yet? What if Thursday is the moment God finally says, "Now. Now you're ready for what I've been preparing since before time began." See, most people think God gives you a moment, a breakthrough, a miracle, and then it's over, back to normal, back to the same walls, the same limitations, the same slow march toward the finish line. But that's not how God works with His chosen ones. He doesn't just prepare moments, He prepares pathways. Long, winding, glory-soaked pathways that stretch further than your natural eyes can see. Proverbs 4:18 says, "The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day." Did you catch that? Ever brighter, not dimming, not fading, not flickering out like a candle in the wind. Brighter. At 70, at 80, at 90. Your sunrise isn't behind you. It's ahead of you. Let me paint you a picture of what God is orchestrating after Thursday. Not theory, not wishful thinking, prophetic trajectory that's already written in heaven's ledgers. First, renewed relationships. Those children who stopped calling, that grandchild who doesn't know your name, that friend who walked away 20 years ago. Heaven is orchestrating reconnection, not because you begged for it, not because you manipulated circumstances, but because when God shifts your spiritual position, He shifts everything connected to you. Job 42:10 tells us that after Job's testing, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before. But notice what happened next. His brothers, his sisters, everyone who had abandoned him suddenly showed up. Divine magnetism, beloved. When God restores you, He doesn't just give you things, He gives you back your people. Second, unexpected financial provision. I'm not talking about winning the lottery. I'm talking about supernatural strategy downloading into your mind. Business ideas at 75. Investment opportunities you never saw before. Money appearing from sources that don't make logical sense. Deuteronomy 8:18 declares, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth." Ability, present tense, not past tense, not gave you when you were younger, gives you right now, at your age, with your limitations, with your fixed income and your social security check and your Medicare bills piling up. God is about to show you that His economy doesn't operate on Wall Street's timeline. Third, restored energy. You've been tired, haven't you? Bone deep tired. The kind of tired that 8 hours of sleep can't touch. But Isaiah 40:31 promises, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." Renew. That word in Hebrew means to exchange. God is about to exchange your natural strength for His supernatural vitality. You're going to wake up Thursday morning feeling something you haven't felt in years. Not just physical energy, spiritual fire. The kind of holy restlessness that makes you dangerous to darkness again. Fourth, clarity in calling. For decades you've wondered, what am I here for? What's my purpose? You've watched younger people walk in their destiny while you sat on the sidelines feeling forgotten. But Moses was 80 when God called him to his greatest work. Anna was 84 when she prophesied over the Messiah. Caleb was 85 when he said, "Give me this mountain." Your calling doesn't have an expiration date, beloved. It has an activation date. And Thursday is that date. This is not the end of your story. This is the unfolding. You've been reading the setup, the character development, the trials that build tension. But now, finally, you're entering the climax. The part where everything you've learned, everything you've survived, everything God has deposited in you through 70, 80, 90 years of living collides with divine timing and creates impact that echoes through generations. Your grandchildren will tell their grandchildren about what God did through you. Your testimony will become the foundation their faith is built on. Your obedience on Thursday will unlock doors for people you'll never meet. But here's what you need to understand. This pathway God is opening doesn't appear automatically. It requires something from you, a posture, a spiritual positioning that most people miss because they're too busy looking backward instead of forward. In the next part, I'll reveal the exact posture heaven wants from you tomorrow morning. The one thing you must do before your feet hit the floor, the prayer that unlocks Thursday's promises, the declaration that shifts atmospheres. Because chosen one, knowing where you're going isn't enough. You have to know how to walk there. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. Most people lose their miracle before they even get out of bed. They wake up the same way they've woken up for the last 40 years, rushed, distracted, already defeated before their feet touch the floor. But Thursday morning is not like other mornings. What you do in the first 7 minutes will determine whether you walk into destiny or stumble past it. Your body may wake up at 6 a.m., but does your spirit? Here's what breaks my heart. I meet seniors all across New York, all across this nation, who tell me they've been praying for breakthrough for decades. 60 years of church, 60 years of tithing, 60 years of faithful service. And they're still waiting, still struggling, still wondering why God hasn't moved. But when I ask them, how do you start your day? As if the morning doesn't matter. As if the first moment you open your eyes isn't the most sacred transaction between heaven and earth. Let me tell you something that's going to shock you. Heaven measures your morning more than your might. David understood this. Psalm 5:3 says, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly." Not in the afternoon when he felt ready. Not in the evening after he'd proven himself worthy. In the morning, first thing, before the world got loud, before his own thoughts got crowded, before the enemy could whisper doubt into his spirit. But here's where most people sabotage themselves. And I need you to hear this truth, even if it stings. You wake up on Thursday morning and immediately grab your phone. You check the news. You scroll through messages. You let the chaos of the world into your consciousness before you've even acknowledged the presence of God in your room. You think you're just catching up, staying informed, starting your day. But what you're actually doing is handing the enemy the first word over your life. Don't speak right away. Give God the first word. Think about this. When Moses encountered the burning bush, what did he do? He stopped. He turned aside. He removed his shoes because he recognized he was standing on holy ground. Your bedroom on Thursday morning is holy ground, beloved. That mattress you've slept on for 20 years, that nightstand covered with pill bottles and reading glasses, that window where the first light breaks through, all of it becomes a sanctuary the moment you choose to acknowledge His presence before you acknowledge anything else. But I know what you're thinking. I'm 82 years old. My back hurts before I even open my eyes. My first thought is pain, not prayer. I understand. Your body is tired. Your bones ache. Some mornings it takes you 15 minutes just to sit up on the edge of the bed. But that's exactly why this matters. Your first breath on Thursday is the key that unlocks the day. Let me give you something practical, something you can do. When you first wake up tomorrow morning, before you think about your medications, before you worry about your bladder, before you remember all the reasons today might be hard, put your hand on your heart. Right there on your chest. Feel it beating. That rhythm isn't random, chosen one. That's the sound of divine purpose still pumping through your veins. and with your hand on your heart, speak these words out loud. Lord, align me with what you wrote for today. That's it. 11 words. But those 11 words will shift the entire atmosphere over your Thursday. You're not asking God to bless your plans. You're surrendering to His. You're not demanding He show up in your timeline. You're aligning with His. You're not trying to convince heaven to move. You're positioning yourself to receive what heaven has already released. Don't rush. Let your spirit catch up with your body. You've spent your whole life rushing, haven't you? Rushing to work, rushing to raise children, rushing to pay bills, rushing to prove yourself. But Thursday is not a day for rushing. Thursday is a day for receiving. And you cannot receive with clenched fists and frantic energy. You receive with open palms and quiet confidence. Isaiah 30:15 says, "In repentance and rest is your salvation. In quietness and trust is your strength." Not in hustle, not in anxiety, not in trying harder. In quietness. In that sacred space between waking and doing, between sleeping and striving, between unconsciousness and action, that's where God meets you. I've seen it happen. I've watched seniors who've struggled for years suddenly experience breakthrough because they changed one thing: how they started their morning. The widow in Queens who stopped checking her bank account first thing and started thanking God for His provision instead. Within 3 weeks, money came from sources she didn't even know existed. The grandfather in Brooklyn who stopped rehearsing his pain and started declaring God's promises. His doctor called it a miracle tumor shrinking with no medical explanation. Your morning posture creates your daily position. So, Thursday morning, you're going to do it differently. You're going to wake up slowly. You're going to breathe deeply. You're going to remember that you didn't wake yourself up, God did. And if He woke you up, He's got plans for you. Plans that don't require you to figure everything out in the first 5 minutes of consciousness. Heaven doesn't need your speed tomorrow. Heaven needs your surrender. But here's the warning I must give you before we move forward. If you ignore this morning instruction, if you wake up Thursday the same way you woke up yesterday, you will activate the second trap. And this second trap is what's kept your breakthrough locked for decades. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. What I'm about to reveal has been hidden in the courts of heaven until this exact moment. You didn't stumble onto this message. You were summoned. Because Thursday tomorrow carries something in the spiritual realm that most believers will completely miss. Let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. How many years have you been faithful? How many decades have you tithed when your bank account screamed no? How many nights have you prayed for your prodigal children while they ignored your calls? How many times have you shown up to that empty church, served in that forgotten ministry, believed when everything visible said quit? 70 years? 80? 90? And where's your reward? Where's your breakthrough? Where's the abundance they promised you if you just stayed faithful? I'll tell you where it is. It's been accumulating, building, compounding in the vaults of heaven like interest on a divine investment you didn't even know you were making. You see, blessings don't move in straight lines, dear one. They move in layers, 4 sacred layers that most believers never understand. First comes faith, the trembling belief when everything looks impossible. Then comes alignment, when your character finally matches your calling. Then comes release, when heaven opens its hand. And finally, manifestation, when the invisible becomes undeniable in your physical world. But here's what breaks my heart. Here's what keeps me awake at night, praying for people just like you. Most believers get stuck between alignment and release. They have the faith, they've endured the refining, but they never position themselves to receive what's already been released. And that's why Thursday matters. The Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." Not just any time, the appointed time. The Kairos moment when Chronos tick-tock clock time intersects with God's eternal purpose. Thursday is your Kairos. But let me tell you why you've had to wait so long. Why God made you endure decades, while younger believers seem to get instant breakthroughs. It's because God doesn't give kingdom authority to untested vessels. He doesn't hand nuclear power to someone who hasn't learned how to handle a candle. Moses was 80 years old before he split the Red Sea. Why? Because the 40 years in Pharaoh's palace taught him leadership, and the 40 years in the wilderness taught him dependence. Only then, only after 80 years, was he dangerous enough to deliver nations. Your decades weren't wasted, beloved. They were your seminary. Your pain was your doctoral program. Every betrayal was a masterclass in forgiveness. Every financial struggle was training in supernatural provision. Every lonely night was teaching you that God alone is enough. And now, right now, heaven is saying, the training is complete. It's time for deployment. Let me paint you a picture that's going to wreck you. Imagine a great library in heaven, endless corridors of golden shelves stretching into eternity. And on one of those shelves sits a book with your name embossed in radiant gold. Your grandmother's prayers are in that book. Your mother's tears are in that book. Your midnight cries that you thought nobody heard, they're all recorded in that book. Tomorrow, an angel is walking down that corridor. He's pulling out your book, and he's opening it to a chapter that has never been written until this moment. The chapter titled The Manifestation, the chapter where your endurance is finally rewarded, where your loyalty is publicly honored, where your hidden prayers are suddenly, undeniably remembered. Revelation 5-8 tells us about golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of God's holy people. Do you understand what that means? Every prayer you've prayed that seemed to bounce off heaven's ceiling, it didn't disappear. It was collected, stored, treasured, and those bowls are about to be poured out. But here's the urgency that should grip your soul right now. Thursday's window doesn't stay open forever. Divine alignments have divine timing. When God says now, He means now. When He marks a day, that day carries weight that tomorrow won't have. This is why the enemy has been attacking you so viciously this week. The anxiety, the doubt, the sudden health issues, the family drama that came out of nowhere. He knows what Thursday carries, and he's desperate to distract you, discourage you, disqualify you before you step into it. But I'm here to tell you it's too late for him. You've already survived too much. You've already endured too long. You've already proven that nothing he throws at you can separate you from the love of Christ. Thursday is your vindication day. Your suddenly moment, your now faith is manifestation. If you are ready for that chapter to be written, if something in your spirit is trembling with recognition right now, type Amen below. Let the angels witness your agreement, because what God is about to release requires your participation, your positioning, your preparation. But that preparation starts with knowing what not to do, because there are 7 invisible traps set for tomorrow, 7 things that will sabotage your breakthrough before you even realize what's happening. And the first trap? It's the one most believers fall into without even knowing it. Beloved chosen one, as we come to the end of this sacred moment together, I need you to remember 3 eternal truths that will anchor your soul through Thursday and beyond. First, Thursday is not just another day, it's your divine appointment. Heaven has marked it. Your prayers have prepared for it. Your endurance has qualified you for it. Second, the 7 things you must not do aren't restrictions, they're protection. God is guarding your breakthrough from the very traps that have stolen it from others. And third, your decades of waiting weren't wasted. They were the currency that purchased tomorrow's manifestation. But here's what I need you to know with absolute certainty. You are not walking into Thursday alone. The same God who has kept you through every valley, every storm, every midnight hour when you wanted to quit, He's walking with you still. He hasn't brought you this far to abandon you at the threshold of your breakthrough. And beyond that, you have a community right here. Thousands of believers who understand your battle, who've walked your road, who are ready to stand with you in prayer. You're not forgotten. You belong to a family of the faithful. So let me ask you this one final question. If God has kept every promise He's ever made, if He's been faithful through every season of your life, Why would he stop now, right when you're about to step into everything he's prepared? Now, wherever you are, I want you to bow your head with me. Let me pray over you, with the authority of someone who has seen God move mountains. Heavenly Father, I place my hand on the shoulder of every precious soul hearing these words. Lord, you know their names. You know their struggles. You know how long they've been waiting, how hard they've been fighting, how deep their faith runs, even when their strength runs thin. Tomorrow, Father Thursday, I pray you would open doors no man can shut. I pray you would silence every voice of doubt and amplify your voice of promise. Release the blessings that have been stored up. Pour out the prayers that have been collected. Manifest the breakthrough that's been building in the invisible realm. Protect them from the 7 traps. Give them supernatural discernment. Surround them with your favor like a shield. And let Thursday be the day their story shifts from endurance to abundance, from waiting to walking in fullness. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Now, I need to hear from you. Comment below and tell me, what are you believing God for this Thursday? What prayer has been burning in your heart? Let this community surround you with intercession. And please, share this message with someone who needs to know their breakthrough is closer than they think. If this word has touched your spirit, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You're not just joining a channel, you're joining a movement of chosen ones who refuse to give up. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Your faithfulness to watch, to listen, to believe, it tells me everything I need to know about your heart. Thursday is coming, beloved, and you're ready.